The Dental Download podcast is your source for insight into dental school, conversations with dentists, specialists, and leaders in the industry. With new episodes every Monday morning, I'm your host, Haley Schultz. Let's get into this week's episode. So, I've been telling everyone about ADEX these last few weeks, and many dentists think chair company when they hear the name. Of course, they are known for their dental chairs and deliveries, but did you know ADEC has you covered from treatment room to mechanical room and everything in between? Literally, dental lights and cabinets, stools, handpieces, infection control, all the reliable, aesthetically pleasing equipment you need to help optimize patient care, improve ergonomics, and grow your practice. For dentists, equipment is everything. So visit ADEC.com to see everything ADEC offers and discover the premier dental equipment that supports your premier care. Hey, hi everyone. We have another guest here today, and I'm going to let Dr. Stern introduce himself. Could you just walk through a little bit of what your journey in dentistry has looked like? I guess that's a very long question, but if you want to give us some Spark Notes version.
How do I sum up a 42-year career, which followed 4 years of dental school, 4 years of college, and God knows what else? But it's been a true journey. And unlike everybody else, I fell down on my face. I made some very serious mistakes that cost me some very serious money. And in hitting rock bottom, I discovered how to live a good life. And I recovered, and here I am. I am rewired and refired, but not retired. I sold my practice in October, and I'm on to the next phase of my career and my life, which will be coaching other dentists and showing people that you can have a good life. You can have fun, you can make a living, you can be healthy, and you can have a great practice. Ask me how I know.
That's awesome.
So that's in a couple of sentences, that's it. I went to a general practice residency. From there, I worked for somebody for 5 years, opened up my own practice in 19, and man, what a journey. But looking back, every bump I hit in the road was a growth experience. Every stupid thing I did led me to where I am today, which is a very, very good place.
That's awesome. And congrats on selling your practice and kind of jumping even further into this new chapter. I know you've been coaching and mentoring for a while now, but It's probably exciting to do it more full time, I suppose, and have that flexibility.
What I want to do.
Yeah.
42 years is a lot of dentistry. And as much as I loved my career, and even more so, I loved the people I took care of. We didn't have any patients in our office, by the way. We had friends. And that's one of the keys. But as much as I loved those people and as hard as I cried when I left, I'm really tugged in this direction to give people the lessons, give people the fruits of the lessons that I've learned, because they're so valuable. They're so important.
And I'd love to kind of dive more into that and advice that you have for people that are just getting started in dentistry. But I do often get questions from people that haven't even made the full jump into, I'm going to do dental school. What advice would you have for someone that's in the deciding process, is dentistry the right fit for them?
Very good. Very good. All right, so a couple of things. Number one, there is no easy way anymore. When I got into dental school, the assumption was go to school, get the letters after my name, open up a practice, people will knock the doors down, I'll retire at 55 and drink beer, bourbon, or mint juleps on a patio for the rest of my life. They changed the rules of the game. So now they're really, in 20 and beyond, there's going to be no easy way to earn a living. So let's get over that. Why do you want to be a dentist? Examine that very carefully and examine your motivation, because dentistry offers you tremendous opportunity and tremendous burden. For me, I was raised to be a doctor. I didn't get into medical school, and I was coerced into going to dental school. That's a whole nother story. I don't want to get too off topic, but doctor for me was important because of my upbringing, significance, having a tangible result right in front of you, and the challenge of it all. That's where I was at. But for anybody contemplating dental school, sit down and figure out your why. Who are you? What gifts do you have to give the world? And how can a career in dentistry enable you to express those gifts? Because it's not about the money, Haley. It really isn't. Every dentist is going to make more than most people in the world could imagine making, and every dentist is going to be making less than some. Just like all but 2 people on this planet, right? There's only one making more than anybody else in the world, and there's only one unfortunate soul making less than everyone in the world, and they don't even know it. So you're going to make a living. How much will depend on your contribution, how much you give, and also a little bit of business savvy, creativity, and energy. But if it's consistent with your why, yeah. The other thing I would strongly recommend, shadow a few dentists. Dentists, here's the dirty secret. Dentists love to talk about one subject more than anything else. You know what that is, Haley?
Probably themselves or their career.
Yes. And by the way, when you're treating patients, bear that in mind. The patient wants to be heard. But dentists will tell you all about their careers and their lives. And you can shadow them and see what it looks like, see what it feels like. And you could take a view from over the dentist's shoulder. There are some people whose lives were changed by dentistry. Many of my clients have had dentists who just changed their life because their teeth were disfigured, disformed, or destroyed. And that's their motivation, and it's very powerful. But you've got to be motivated not by the money, but by some other why. So that's what I would strongly suggest people do. Not dentistry because my name is Alan and I am a dentist. I became a dentist to be significant, to be doctor, to be important to people, to have knowledge that no one else has, and to carry with it the prestige and the responsibility that comes with the title.
Yeah, those are really important things for people to do a lot of self-reflection and just really understand why they want to do what they want to do. And that's what I recommend to people a lot. It's the whole scope of your life. It's not, oh, what do I want my job to be? It's so much deeper than that. So that's all some really important thinking points.
When you're practicing, and this is one for you, Haley, and for the young dentist or the about to be dentist, Dr. Pankey, who, and if you haven't heard of the Pankey Institute, I have no financial attachment to them. I do have a loyalty and a bias to them because they made me who I am. Dr. Pankey had what he called the cross of dentistry. Know your patient, know your work, know yourself, and apply your knowledge. But I believe knowing yourself is the foundation. Knowing your patient, we can talk about that as you move through your career. Know your work and apply your knowledge, but know yourself.
And those kind of foundational principles, as well as what you mentioned earlier, that like your patients weren't just patients, they were your friends.
Yes.
That kind of leads into my next question. How would you describe the scope and style of your practice of dentistry, and how did you figure out the way you wanted to practice dentistry?
I love this. Very good. So, all right, I will go back to the digression that how I became a dentist, how I decided, because I've been rejected from medical school. It took me an extra half year to graduate college because of an illness in the family that disrupted my life. And so I took a job in a retail store. And my best friend's dad was my dentist. And so we went out to the pool club with Dr. Bob, my friend Mark, and Dr. Bob and the family. And I really remember standing in the pool. And Dr. Bob said, so what are you doing with yourself, Alan? And I said, I'm working in a retail store. And he says, what are you doing that for? I said, well, I didn't get into school, and I kind of like it. And I won't use the word that he used, but he said, stop ing around, go to dental school. I said, Dr. Bob, I don't want to be sticking fingers in people's mouths. He said, come on, come to my office. And by the way, these were the days when we did not wear gloves, if you could imagine. Dentists didn't start wearing gloves routinely until 1980. So this was in the mid-70s. And so I went to Bob's office, and man, he was a workaholic, but a happy workaholic. He got in there, and the patient, now this is back in the Stone Age where nobody called doctor anything but doctor. But they say, hey, Bob, how you doing? And, Frank, Hank, hey, this is great. Come on, let's try this in. Let's do this. Ring, 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 ring. And he loved it, and the patients loved him. And I figured, yeah, if Dr. Bob can do this, yeah, I dig Dr. Bob, and I'm kind of part of the family, and yeah, all right. And he was my dentist too, and that's what motivated me. And so you heard me use a word there a couple of times, a 4-letter word. Dr. Bob loved his patients. And his patients loved Dr. Bob. And I always bucked the trend of looking at patients as objects. You know, I have a crown coming in today. No. Hey, we got a toothache in the waiting room. No. We have a human being in the waiting room, and I want to take care of him. So I followed Dr. Bob's spirit. So we have a sign that Dr. Ravi, who bought my practice, he kept the sign up there. It's right above the reception desk. It says, enter as strangers, leave as friends. That is really me and my practice in a nutshell. I wanted to listen to those people. I wanted to hear what they were all about. I wanted to hear their attitude toward health, toward their teeth. I wanted to know their limitations, particularly financial, because dentistry is expensive. And I wanted to create a plan of action that fit them, not me. Oh, I have a patient who needs this, that, and everything. No, nobody needs anything, because I could treatment plan a $50,000 case on a recently divorced single mom whose husband left her in credit card debt up to her eyeballs. I'm not doctoring that person. You start here. And that's what Dr. Bob did too. So that's how I developed my philosophy, and it matured over time. It was not a perfect evolution. Made lots of mistakes. Messed it up a lot, as you will, as every other human being will. But I grew into that role, and I really savored it. Even true confession, even more than the dentistry. I savored the role of being a very special healer for people.
And you mentioned you did some training early on with the Pankey Institute, and that was pretty foundational for you. How would you recommend that people just getting started, once we feel like we're getting a hang of the relational part of dentistry and the basics, deciding what else we want to pursue in terms of more specialty procedures?
Very good. You've done this a couple of times before, haven't you?
Yes.
Yeah, the questions are excellent. So, your first few years, just like your first few years of childhood, are formational, foundational, developmental. So, in a perfect world, Haley, I would like to see you and all of your colleagues get out there in any environment and get as many reps as possible, get as much exposure to the different disciplines of dentistry as possible, and begin to formulate a couple of things. Number one, decide what you love to do. Decide what you can't stand and don't want to ever see again. And here's the key. Don't say, discover not what you can't do, not what you're afraid of doing, but what you're curious about and what you'd like to learn more of. Never say, I'm afraid. Say, I wonder. Never say, I can't do it. Say, I'm curious. I'm compiling a list of Alan's Dirty 30, words that you should never ever use. But those are two of them. So get as much exposure as possible. Don't be afraid to fall on your face. As long as you are acting out of the goodness of your heart and the sharpness of your wit, it's okay. And if you emerge from your comfort zone carefully, it's okay. If you emerge too quickly without any supervision or mentoring, that may not be okay. And the reason we're professionals is because we have the responsibility of knowing the difference. So get as much exposure as you can. Get as much exposure to different types of people and genres of practice. This is a niche-based market now, Haley. You have to know who it is you want to treat, what you want to do for them, what your end game would be, what your desired outcome would be for these folks, and then work on people whose attitudes are similar to yours. So that, I would think, that's at least a 5-year maturation process. And once you get the basics down, taking some continuing ed along the way, then you could really develop your own individual practice philosophy and grow from there. There are, for me it was the Pankey Institute. There's Spear, there's Coyce, there's Dawson, there's LVI, there's millions of them out there. There's the American Academy for Oral Systemic Health, which is a wonderful organization. That's the future, by the way, because the health of your body, you can't have a healthy body without a healthy mouth. So just be a sponge, amass as much knowledge as you can, and then sort through it all. After you do that, create a plan. What is my life going to look like in 5 years, 10 years? Create a roadmap for yourself. I want to have this kind of practice in this type of town, near the water, in the mountains, near my family, away from them, I can't stand them. Cities, suburbs, rural, and develop that vision. And it could change. You can change it also. But if I'm going to drive out to Michigan to see you from the Jersey Shore, I'm not going to get in my car and just start driving. I'm going to turn on the GPS. I'm going to punch in your address. But there may be detours along the way. So it's okay to take detours as long as you get to the final destination.
And I know your journey, because I read your book and I loved your book, has been full of detours and reevaluating what you wanted and how you were going to get it. Is there anything, I mean, looking back at your career and your life, I'm sure there's a lot, but does anything stick out as something that you wish you did, or maybe you wish you did a whole lot sooner?
Funny you should ask me that, Haley, because my latest talk, which I give to study clubs, shameless self-promotion, is 5 decisions I wish I had never made and one that changed my life forever. I did a lot of stupid things. In a nutshell, if you fall into the comparison trap, you got a problem. If you fall into the perfection trap, you've got a problem. If you fall into the money trap, you've got a problem. I don't know, Haley, that I would change anything, because without the mistakes, maybe I could have retired earlier. Maybe I could have retired with a bigger bank account. But you know what? I have enough. I have enough now to last me until age 100 in a comfortable lifestyle. So yeah, there are stupid things I did, but damn, they made me what I am. They made me better. They made me a better person, and they've empowered me with a new purpose in life. And I almost am thankful for my screw-ups. You know, it's not, show me a person without stress and I'll show you a cadaver. That's Alanism number 1. I have a book of them coming out soon. Show me a person whose life is a perfect storybook and I'll show you a liar. It's what you do with your fall downs. It's what you do when life knocks you down that really matters. And it's not about the destination, Haley. It's about the journey, the greatness. Anybody's greatness is in their journey. So my journey is my definition. It's who I am. So the answer to your question is yes, but maybe I wouldn't have been as happy as I am now.
Yeah, it's definitely everyone's story is just that. It's all everything built on each other. It seemed like one of the big catalysts for you was kind of taking back control of your health and your well-being. Really stirred things up and got you moving in a direction that you were really excited about with your life. Mm-hmm. So what advice do you have for people that feel like it's, even in dental school, really hard to have that discipline and build those good habits? Because I know for me, I prioritize that because I know there's not a once I graduate and I'm a dentist, then it will be easier to do whatever, because that's just not how life works. You have to just start, like, today's the day, not tomorrow. But what advice do you have for people about that?
It's what you do every day that matters. So, we're dental students. We're up early in the morning. We're in class. We are absorbed in our books. We're absorbed in learning. We're absorbed in our clinical. But please tell me you have 15 minutes. So, you don't have to do a 1-hour workout every day. In fact, there are some schools of thought that say you don't need it. You can't. Can you take time to do a batch of push-ups a few times a day? Can you take time to do some squats? Can you take time to do some lunges? And my thing is planking. I haven't done it in a while because my shoulders have been hurt. You can get down on your elbow, on your forearms, and do a plank for 3 minutes. I dare you. I did one for 10.5 minutes when I was 66 years old. So but you don't have to be the master of fitness. When I was in dental school, I ran. I did a lot of running, but not an awful lot of running because I didn't have the time. One of my friends got a batch of weights in his garage. He invited me over. I did a little bit of weightlifting. And when I got out of dental school, I found that I was able to make time. And I made more and more. And then my son was born, and I had less and less time. And then I had more and more. My daughter was born, I had less and less. So it's a journey, and it's just like any progress. You know, progress is never linear. It's always like this. So allow yourself the grace to endure the peaks and valleys, but try to do something every day or close to every day. That's what I would tell you. Push-ups are very simple. Planking is very simple. Squats, wall sits, lunges, sit-ups, crunches, anything.
Yeah, those are all great. And one thing for me I also think about in terms of just the life balance between work and taking care of yourself and then giving to the people you love, your family, whoever that may be. That work-life balance phrase is very tricky. And in my dream world, I would be 100% present at work and give everything that I can in those hours to my patients and go home and give 100% to my family. That'd be great, but then you have to think, when do you fill your own cup up so that you can do that? So that's kind of something I'm always going back to and trying to build good habits now before I'm working and before I have a family and everything. But what is some of your experience with that?
Well, funny you should ask that, because 2 weeks ago I sat on a panel for Dental Podcast Fest, and I sat on a work-life balance panel. Ready to get shattered? Work-life balance is a myth. Balance is a verb. You will never sustain that balance for long periods of time. Why? Because life is fluid. Life is dynamic. So, when we're driving a car, we don't hold the car steering wheel like this. We hold it like this, don't we? We're constantly just micro-correcting our position in the lane. It's the same thing in life. So you know that you want things, and there are certain things you can do every day. But if, let's say, you have your first child, that's going to throw your life so far out of whack you won't know what hit you. And you open up a practice. You'll need to find 10 or 15 minutes just for some self-care. You'll come home to your family, and there's going to be things to do, but you need to isolate some quiet time and do whatever in that quiet time. But every now and then, you're not going to get it. So always bear it in mind. Always bear in mind the status of your balance, and just constantly make little corrections. And you know what? If you haven't exercised in 3 days, get over it. And just reset your counter to 0 and start again. It's okay. It's okay. We are overachievers as dentists, as dental students. And we have to understand that we are highly accomplished, highly successful, highly skilled people, but we're also human. So cut yourself a little slack. If a patient comes in at their 6-month recall and they fell down on flossing their teeth, are you going to yell at them? I hope not. There's some people who would. It's okay, Miss Patient. It's cool. Let's start again. Would you like Jess, our hygienist, to go over with you how to do it? Because we want you healthy. Why not talk to yourself the same way? It's okay. I didn't go to church or synagogue this weekend. Just give yourself some grace in this balance thing, and understand balance is not a state of being, it's a verb.
Yeah, I think everything you said about it's going to be constantly evolving as well as your life changes and your needs change and the people around you change. And I feel like it's just so tricky to try to plan out everything in life from a dental student perspective, looking ahead of, I know I want this in the future, or this would be my goal or my dream, whatever you want to call it. But planning out how you can get there is definitely very tricky.
I'll clue you in on something. I didn't discover this until late in life. My mentor, the amazing Mark LeBlanc, he's my speaking coach and my business coach, and has become one of my dearest friends. Mark has a thing, and he's allowed me to talk about this in my talks as long as I give him credit for it. 10 wants in 10 years. How about that? What do you want in the next 10 years, Haley? Personally, professionally, financially, and health. I'll tell you some of my highlights. I want to relocate to Florida, and I put that down a few years ago. That's happening. Just sold my house, we're going house hunting. I want to get to 20% body fat. I was at 17 a few years ago. Now I'm in the low to mid 20s. I want to get back to it. I want to have X number of dollars in the bank for an income of X number of dollars. And anything that I earn from Better, Richer, Stronger, that's just augmenting my life. And business-wise, I want to touch as many lives. And I have a batch of other wants. And I have a timeline on it. And I have steps that need to be done in order to get to where I want to be. And the most important column of it, which is my contribution to this, 2 things. Number 1, why do you want it? And how will you feel when you get it? I'm at the threshold of an incredible refirement home, and I'm feeling it. I am feeling such a charge and such a rebirth and such an excitement for life. And my wife and I we're just kind of boiling over, and it's good. So what do you want? By when? Why? And how are you going to feel when you get it? 4 areas: health, financial, professional, personal/family.
Yeah, I really like that. And that's something I talked about a few episodes ago that I released in the new year. For goal setting, a big thing for me has always been the visualization. Like, how will it feel? What will that, if it's a
Yes.
standalone moment or whatever the thing is, like, people ask, how did you deal with studying for the DAT? It's so draining. Like, I don't even know if I'm going to get into dental school. And I said, sometimes I just had to close my eyes and picture walking across the graduation stage and looking out at my parents. I'm crying, they're crying. It's such a big milestone. Things like that. And you can't discredit like how much those emotions can kind of shift your brain chemistry and reignite that motivation. So I really like that portion
Well,
of how will it
Simon
feel when you
Sinek
do
wrote
it.
a book called Start With Why. It's the story of Apple Computer. Everybody else wanted to build a computer. Apple wanted to have an impact on humanity and went from there. The why precedes the what, precedes the how. So your why is at the base. Then the what do you want to do, and then how are you going to do it? I'm sorry, I lost your sound, Haley.
Sorry about that. You said one of the big things that you wanted was to touch and impact as many people as you can. And I'm definitely one of those people. And I had a dentist colleague that was really struggling a few years out of school, and I sent him your book, and it made a huge difference for him as
Oh,
well. So I know that that kind of domino effect is happening, whether the people reach out to you or not, which is so special. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what inspired you to write your book, start coaching, working with students. Where did all of that start, and what have been some of the highlights?
thank you. And you made my day. To know that. Because this work is hard and it's frustrating, as much as I'm in love with it. But to know that, Haley, man, that's worth $1 million to me. Thank you. And thank your colleague.
Yeah, I will.
I would love to speak to her or him.
Yeah.
They can talk to me. So it's a very complex set of things that happened that sent me down this journey. In my late 40s and early 50s, we were living paycheck to paycheck. Could you imagine? 30 years of practice, paycheck to paycheck. What the hell is going on? And that's upsetting. And it caused me to emotionally hit rock bottom. And by the way, I didn't get this way without the help of a world-class therapist, a peak performance coach, a rabbi, a circle of friends, and a terrific wife. So no one gets there alone, Haley. But I fell on my face and my practice tanked. And I trusted some of the wrong consultants, financial advisors, and marketing advisors. They left me $250,000 in debt in my 40s and 50s with no increase in income to pay it down. And I had bought a big house because I wanted to be like the big boys. I bought a big house. Too bad I couldn't afford it. I bought a Lexus. Should have stayed with the Toyota. And I took out live radio spots every Tuesday morning. I'm still known as Dr. Stern from the radio. And it was great, man. I lived in a big boy house. I drove a big boy car. And I sounded just like a big boy. And the financial advisor led me down a primrose path. And we're flat on our face. The practice consultant was not right for me. And all of a sudden, here I am lost. As an adult, a parent of teenage kids. Wow. Fortunate. So I had to sell the house. I sold the house because I found the right financial advisor. He said, look at the numbers, Alan. I said, Jim, Stern, what the heck? Look at the numbers. Oh, your kids don't need the school system anymore. Sell the house, buy a townhouse. I did. I got rid of the radio advertising also. It was costing me a fortune. But I kept the Lexus. Nice car. And when I sold the house, and when I found the right practice coach, they helped me pick myself up by the bootstraps. Here's the tipping point. Back in I get to my office, get to my desk, and I do what every busy dentist does. First thing in the morning, I check my Facebook feed. And there's a picture of Dr. Andrea Bierman and my friend Sherry Kay, who was another great dental practice coach. This was before my coaching. She puts up R.I.P. my friend. Andrea Bierman was 34 years old. She was gorgeous. She was charismatic. She was brilliant. Everybody wanted to know what she was thinking. Panky was grooming her to be their TMD expert. Andrea died by suicide. And I'd known Andrea. I adored her. We exchanged ideas, and we were friends. I called a buddy of mine in Kansas who's on the board at the Pankey Institute, and Andrea was from Kansas, and I said, we got to do something. So Jim Otten, my friend, convinced the Pankey Alumni Association to allow us to pay tribute to Andrea and do a research project on suicide in dentistry, and we found, lo and behold, it's a thing. We gave a talk. 4 people out of arguably 150 of the most accomplished dentists in the United States came up to us to thank us. And it was at that point that I realized that I had a gift. And I developed that gift because I listened to a lot of dentists. People talk to me, and I love to listen. And for all the junk that I was carrying, colleagues were carrying junk that was as junky or even junkier than the junk I was carrying. And so I had the idea. Then I run into Mark LeBlanc, who I ran into in the Speaking Consulting Network. I was just kind of getting my feet wet in this. And I hired him as my business coach. He said, Alan, write the book. Write a book. I said, Mark, I practice dentistry full time. I don't have time. He says, write the book. But, write the book, Alan. So Mark kind of twisted my arm. I wrote the book. And it turned out, it really exceeded my expectation of how it would turn out. I know I'm a good writer, but to put it into that coherent form, I had a terrific publisher, Henry DeVries, who edited and published it and put the cover on it. And that was a launch point. All because of what? Because I fell on my face. So out of adversity, loss of my mother, and I do this work in her memory. She's staring at me over there right now. So I'm driven. I'm driven to affect some good in the world because of all that.
And you are. You definitely are. You're making a huge impact. And in your words on this episode tonight and through your book and through everything you do, you're definitely making a very big impact.
May I just for a moment?
Yeah.
I want you to understand that you are doing the same, that every dentist out there, your work is sacred. Everything you do, from the stupidest little filling to the biggest full mouth rehabilitation, is sacred. You are changing people's lives every single day. If you keep that in mind, and you stay connected to your why, all this burnout stuff is not going to happen to you. Stay connected to the humanity of it all. Dentistry is an art, it's a science, but most of all, never forget that it's humanistic. And there are forces and there are pressures on this profession that are causing it to dehumanize. Keep love in your practice every single day. Love of yourself, love of the people around you, and you won't burn out.
That's very special and a great message for people to be thinking about as we're kind of wrapping up the episode here. We've tossed around your book this, your book that, but can you tell people where they can get your book, what's it called, and anything else if they want to connect with you?
Sure. Well, you can see it backwards behind me there. And it's called Enjoy the Ride. If you go to Amazon and you enter Enjoy the Ride Stern, the book will pop up. It's available in paperback. It's available in Kindle. No, it's not available in audio. Haven't done that yet. And my company is called Better, Richer, Stronger. And I am here to give dentists and dental students more focus, more energy, more happiness, and more clarity so they can have a career that is their own preferred future. So you could contact me, Alan, at betterricherstronger.com. I also have, for the dental students, once a month I have a free mastermind group over Zoom. You are coming to the next one, or I'm coming after you. But it is open to dental students. It is an interactive, lively, safe space to talk and to air out any issues, and I will help you through those things. And sometimes our members help other members figure it out. And I have groups for dentists as well. I coach individuals, I coach groups, and I speak. So get me in front of a batch of students and I'll do the 5 mistakes talk for you. And for students, I'll do that as a gift. You need to know this stuff. I want you to have a good life because you only got one shot at it.
Thank you so much again for everything you shared tonight. And it was so special getting to meet you virtually. And I just really want to express my gratitude for that.
Same way toward you, and hopefully we'll meet in 3D at some point.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I pressed stop, so we'll see if it stops.